All right, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters that's out there. On to the Israelite foreigners, the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. It's going to be a quick show. The spirit of Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. This was the current scripture of the day. It says, above all these things, put on charity, which is a bound of perfectionists. All right. Let me get that in regular. I had some things queued up. I ain't gonna make this long. 3 and 14. Colossians 3 and 14. It says, above all these things, put on charity, which is the bound of perfectionists. So to look up the word charity, it's supposed to be Agrippa, which means love, brotherly love, affection, goodwill, love, benevolence, love fest. So brotherly love, and that's something that's always needs to be exercised in this truth of ours. Now, most of the times we think, well, the scriptures does tell you about charitable works. Covers many sins. Like if you do something, you give charity, it does cover many sins. I just did a show, made mention of Tobit, the book of Tobit, and tell you how Raphael was breaking it down at the end when he revealed himself and all the things that Tobit did and his son. How those are the good things, the good deeds that he did that pleased the Lord. All right, but charity is not always has to be finances. Charity can be time. You call a brother up. That's good. That's a charitable work. You're giving a piece of yourself. That's a charitable work. You know. You giving your time to somebody else. That's charitable. So it's not always have to be finances, brothers. You know, we definitely need some hard times now when finances can't really help much. Which it can help a little bit, but it doesn't take away. But kind words, you know, uplifting each other's spirit, that's beautiful. You know. Matter of fact, there's another scripture. Yeah, charity builds up, edify. Yep. First Corinthians 8 and 1. It says, now touching these things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge, right? So we all came from the world. We all know the things of the world. You know, some brothers grew up straight up dark side. You know these things. You know the ways around the world. It says, but knowledge, says Slaki, knowledge puffeth up. So knowledge is, when you have these knowledge, you can't refer that to this truth. All right, you may be knowledgeable of certain things, but you always gotta put yourself in a low degree. But it says, but charity edify. So charity, when you look up the word edify, it means to build up. So us giving the knowledge of what you know of the world, the wickedness of the world, and you apply that to the scriptures, can build somebody up. That's somebody else that went through the same BS that you came up in. And you'll be able to guide them out of the dark times. This is why we go through a certain experience. So when younger brothers come in, they'll tell you their problems, like, oh, I know somebody that's been through that, or I've been through that. And you give them the advice to get them out of that situation. Guess what? That's building a man up. And it said, if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. So the things we know for the moment. We don't know every single thing, but we know the things for salvation. We have we do have the formula, the truth, the 100% truth for salvation. All right, people act like you have to know the chromosomes of each animal. When Apostle Tahar said, it made that statement, he meant what I just said. It was about 100% knowledge of salvation. Everything else is going to be added unto us in the kingdom of heaven. All right. But if a man love the Most High, the same is known of him. All right. Not Colossians. 1 Corinthians 13. Verse 1, it says, though I speak with the tongues of man and of angels, meaning prophesying, yeah, it's good to go out there and prophesy. It's good to tell them the white man, he's a devil, speak a good game. But it said, and have not charity, I become as sounding brass or a tingling cymbal. So you're nothing. All right, you're not practicing what you're preaching, because once again, it's more than going out there and calling the white man a devil. It's about showing love towards one another. All right, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, so that's a heavy spirit to have. Right? And have not charity, I am nothing. So if you're not reciprocating that same energy that you could expound and you give it to a brother, then you are nothing. All right? Though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, though I have give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profit me nothing. See how important charity is? Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Matter of fact, look up the word vaunt. Let me see that. It said, yep, to boast oneself. So you're not supposed to give like a dossier or a display of like, this is what I've done for the brothers. I took this brother in when he had this. I gave this brother X amount of money, or I called his brother up when he was down. These are things that you're not supposed to keep record of. You're just supposed to be able to do. This is how you're not supposed to boast yourself about what you do. You're just supposed to do it. And it says, charity vaunteth not itself, it is not puffed up, doeth not behave itself unseemingly, seeking not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. And to show you that our minds are so warped that sometimes you do things, and that's the worst thing you could do things wickedly, like oh, I gotta give this guy something, I gotta do this. Once you have that type of spirit, it's better off not to give, because you're not giving from the spirit. All right, that's why it's a scary thing. Like, we all gotta constantly check ourselves, examine ourselves, and when we do things, because guess all that is being accounted against, could be accounted against you. It says, rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth in all things, enduring all things. Charity never faileth, but whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesied in part. And the parts that we have is enough to give us the tools that we need in order to survive the world until this world is destroyed. So when holy hell breaks loose, you're gonna have to have compassion towards the brotherhood, all right, and be charitable. But when that which is perfect is come, which is Yahushua, then what is in part shall be done away. So, and that goes into that. Let me get this one more. I guess I'm gonna make this short. Ecclesiastical Sirach 11 and what was that? 11. There's one that laboreth, taketh of pain, maketh haste, and is so much the more than behind. Again, there is another that is slow and have need of help, wanteth ability, full of poverty, Yet the eye of the Lord look upon him for good, set him up from his low estate. So when you see a brother down and out, matter of fact, let me get that, hold that down too. When you see a brother and he's not himself, that's the time to lift him up. Real quick. First Thessalonians 5:11. There's a point. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another. The word edify or edification means to be built up. So we gotta edify one another. So you see a brother down, you have to lift him up. By what? By the words. Okay? That's why charity is not always about finances. Charity should be more in the spiritual sense. Okay? It says, even as also you do, and we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you. So what it means to know them, we're not supposed to just go out there in the highways and byways and, all right, this brother, that brother. You're supposed to know each other. You should know each other enough to like, okay, he's not feeling well. You're supposed to know the state of the flock. All right? Every man in the camp should know his fellow brethren, the man that he's going to war with. So when a man needs a cup of water, you know he's thirsty, you give him a cup of water. You know he's down, you lift him up. It says, and over you, even brothers that's over you. Every brother don't have the same spirit. Every brother has bad days. You know, that's why brothers got to check up on each other. We trying to push that more because we in that time. It says, in the Lord, and admonish you, and esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves. So we have to be at peace with each other, mainly with our own selves. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient towards all men. Which takes what? Skills. That's charity. That's charitable works. See that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourselves and to all men. Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing. So that was a point in that one. We can finish this off of here. Sirach 11:20-12 says again, there is another that is slow and have need of help, wanting ability and full of poverty. The eye of the Lord look upon him for good, and set him up from his low estate, and is lifted up in his head from misery, so that many that saw it marveled at him. Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come of the Lord. So like the scripture says, every man esteem in his own day. So everything that happens to every person within the body is of the Lord. And how you react towards that is the test of the show, the love that you have towards one another. So with that, it became a whole nother show. But hey, going back to this, is above all these things put on charity, which is bound of perfectionness. So with that being said, I hope you brothers edify. Shalom to the elect of the nation Israel. Shalom.